Hello and welcome back. Now in this video we are going to create our consumer test. Like I already explained, for each service we are only going to have just one test file. Okay, that test file could have multiple functions or describe or test for different functions, but only one test per service. Okay, so here in the queues folder I'll create a folder called test. Okay, and then inside the tests I will create a file called email.consumer.tests.ts. Now, if you remember our configuration, we specified which files to test. So check in the test folder any file with the .ts extension. Okay, that is what this means. Any file with the .ts extension. Okay, so let me open this, and we need this as well. Okay, so now in order for us to be able to send a message or consume a message, we need to create a connection. Now, because we are dealing with unit tests, okay, not integration tests, okay, there is unit tests, there is integration tests, there is end-to-end tests, okay, different types of tests, but the test we are dealing with currently is unit test. So we want to test parts or units of an application or a service. Now, if you are because we are not dealing with integration tests basically is you want to integrate your test with database. Okay, you want to connect your test with your database. You want to connect it with Elasticsearch. You want to connect it with RabbitMQ. Okay, we are not dealing with integration tests. We don't want to know if the data is saved in Elasticsearch or if the data we want to test with is saving or is going through RabbitMQ. So because it's just a simple unit test, we are going to mock, okay? We are going to mock those functions that we don't want to actually create, okay? For example, your create connection, we will mock it because Jest has a mock method we can use to mock this create connection. And then we'll need to mock our assert queue, okay? Because we don't want it to create, we don't want to create an actual connection. We don't want to create an actual exchange, create an actual queue. Okay, so we are going to mock the exchange, mock the assert queue, okay, probably mock the bind queue, okay. So anything we need to do that we don't want to create an actual connection, we'll need to mock them, okay. So here, the first thing I'm going to do is import this connection, import the connection file. So we need to mock the connection file. I'll say import all as connection from. Now we need to pass the connection file path, so it's going to be at notifications / queues / connection. Okay, you can see it right here, /queues / connection. Okay, and then also we import this, and then we use Jest to mock it, jest.mock. Okay, so we need to mock the file. So this is Jest. Okay, here it's saying cannot find Jest. Let's try something. We already installed a type. Let's try to install another type. npm install -d at types /jest. Let's see if it will fix that issue. Okay, yes. Okay, so go ahead. We installed two types. The first one is at jest /type, and this other one is at type /jest. So go ahead and install this as well. Okay, so we are mocking now what we have inside our connection folder, and then let's go ahead. There are some other things we need to mock, like our AMQP library. Okay, so I will need to import that as well. So import AMQP from AMQP lib, and then let's mock that as well. Okay, okay, and then our helpers, we need to mock this. Okay, so mock this, your helper library. Okay, now let us create our first test. So we are going to use a describe block. So in Jest you set up a describe. Okay, describe basically is used to group your tests. So I'll call this email consumer. And what do we want to test? We want to test this consume that this is actually called. So if we call this function, we want to test that, okay, these properties are called like assert exchange, assert queue, bind queue. Okay, so that is just what we want to assert. Okay, so here we can do a before each, because we are mocking. We can say before each we want to jest.restore all mocks. Okay, and then we have the after each, then jest.clear all mocks. Okay, so before each test block is executed, we reset all mocks, and then after each we clear all mocks. So the first test is this consume auth email messages. I can use a describe. Yeah, I can use another describe. Okay, right here, and I'll call this consume email messages method. Okay, like I said, we just want to assert, okay, if this method is called, we want to assert or check that, okay, this is called, this is called, this is called. Okay, so here I'll add each block. Inside the describe, you can group as well with each block. Okay, so here, what should it do? The consume auth email messages method should be called, or you can give it whatever description you want. Okay, so the first thing is we need to mock the channel. We need to create a channel. Okay, so how do we create a channel? We can mock it, const channel, and in the channel, we remember in the channel we need the assert exchange, we need the assert queue, we need the bind queue, and possibly the consume. So you can add an object with assert exchange. Okay, and then it will be of type jest.function. Okay, so if you want to create a jest function without creating an actual function, this is how you do it. Okay, and then we have publish. Okay, then we also have assert queue, then we have the bind queue, and we have the consume. Okay, so this is just an example of a channel that we can use. This is throwing an error, or let's see. Okay, it's signed, but the value is never used yet. Okay, now let us spy on all of these methods: assert exchange, assert queue, bind queue. Okay, so I'm going to call jest.spy on. And what do we want to spy on? We use the channel, and then we want to spy on the assert exchange. We want to spy on the assert queue. Now for this assert queue, you can see it returns this assert queue object. Okay, so we can also mock that. And what do we need from this? So you can just mock it to return what you only need. So for this Jobber queue, we need the queue name, and there are two other properties we can just set to default, but the most important thing is we need a queue from this assert queue. Okay, so to do that, we will use .mock. You can see it has mock implementation if you want to mock the implementation of the method. If you want to mock the return value, okay, so mock return value. Okay, and it returns an object because this is an object. And let's see if we can find Yeah, let's see if we can find it. Now you can see the assert queue, it returns a queue, it returns a message count, and it returns a consumer count. Okay, so you can see it right here. It returns, this method returns a queue, a message count, and a consumer count. So just add an object, queue, specify your queue name, jobber email, or rather we can use the same queue name. Okay, this is just for testing. And then we have the message count, I'll set it to 0, and then consumer count, I'll set it to 0. Okay, so we are returning this mock value because assert queue returns an object. Okay, and we already saw what the contents of those objects are. And then we can also mock our connection, which is this connection, or rather this connection method. We are already importing connection, so I'll say jest.spy_on, and then connection, and then the function is create connection. And then we want, because this method returns a channel, or where is it? This creates connection returns a channel. We are going to mock return value. We return channel. Okay, now yeah, it's complaining, so we need to cast this as any. Yeah, for now it's appropriate that we use this. I will just, if you try to use unknown, yeah, it will throw an error. If you use never, yeah, okay, it seems like never works. Okay, then what we can do is call const connection channel equal to await connection dot create connection. Okay, so sorry, it's supposed to be connection. Yeah, we need to use async. Okay, so here we don't worry about it because we are already mocking it. So this function we are calling, it's going to return whatever we pass into the mock return value. Because we are mocking it, we can call it, it's not going to create an actual connection, it's going to create a mock connection. Okay, and then one last thing is we call this method await, and then we pass in our connection channel. Okay, we can import this as well. Okay, for now let me just comment this part out. Okay, yeah, for now we can set the type. Oh, let me undo that. Let's set the type. This is going to be amqp.channel or undefined. Okay, remember that the connection returns a channel or undefined. Okay, yeah, just use the shebang to remove the error. Okay, so I'm going to stop here. In the next video we are going to create the expectations.